Every Day is a Yay. We're finding the levity and lessons in life. Hosted by me, Jewel Faguni.
Yo.
Period. Okay. And I have it here. Okay. I got my good friend, Charles, Dahzi D, Charlie Chaplin, the silent killer. Okay, period. Charles, he's a good friend, and he's an overall talented artist, okay? He's a performer, a writer, a producer. And Charles, tell us the rest of who you are, you know what I'm saying? Tell us everything.
I mean, yeah, you got it. I really feel like, you know how like the guest pastors at the church be like when they're getting introduced. That's how I felt like sitting on. Like,
oh, period.
But yeah, I mean, I think you pretty much did it. I mean, other than my performing in like, you know, art-based things, I would really just consider myself like I'm really a nerd and everything like that. Like I love comic books and movies and just like I'm really like a sci-fi geek. Like anything that's just like unrealistic to the point of near delusion, I'm just like, yeah, I need to indulge in that for a second. So yeah, I would say daytime artist, amateur. No, I'm definitely a professional nerd.
I was gonna say that's okay. Embrace it.
No, I'm definitely professional. If you can make money for it, I'd have definitely learned how to monetize it by now.
You heard it, folks. He's a professional nerd, but he owns it. That's on period.
Yeah.
Well, you know what? Before we begin, right?
Yeah. Let's
get into drum roll, please. The Goblet of Smiles. So, before we begin, we are always gonna have this segment where you can pull into the Goblet of Smiles. And, you know, we can see what happens because, you know, every day's a yay. So let's see what's going. Okay.
Let me see.
All right, read it out loud for the folks.
Oh, what show got canceled too soon?
Let's talk about it.
Okay. I gotta think of a show I like that. I would say, you remember The Get Down on Netflix?
I heard of it, but I never watched it.
Yeah, To Get Down on Netflix. That's like 2016, 2015, I think. But yeah, man, they canceled that show after like a season and a half, I believe. It wasn't even 2 whole seasons. That show definitely got canned too early. I'm trying to think of more shows that
I am too. Cause like, go ahead.
Oh, there's this show on Hulu called Reboot with what's Key from Key and Peele. He's on it. The Baldwin.
It's called Reboot?
Yeah, it's called Reboot. They only had 1 season, and I was like, actually, like every now and then I just look up and I'm like, oh, when's the second season coming? No,
period.
Like, this isn't getting a second season. I'm like, oh, but y'all have money for like this other bullshit that y'all keep on putting. Like y'all have money for a Flamin' Hot movie, but like
I'm trying to think of what show I think got canceled too soon. I think for me, the shows that I think got canceled too soon, they actually had a decent amount of seasons. I just didn't want the show to end.
Yeah.
Like I'm thinking, so this is like an old show, but Girlfriends.
Oh yeah. I could definitely like that. That's another show that could have gone another season rolling.
Yeah.
I mean, if we got shows that I wish would have gone another season, or I felt like could have gone longer. I just finished watching Succession.
Oh, yeah. Let's talk about Succession because Succession.
Honestly, they could give me at least
5 more seasons. It would actually be like kind of insane, but like I would just more. If you like Succession, you need to watch Riches. It's like the Nigerian version of Succession.
Really?
It takes place in London. The dad owns like a beauty hair company.
What is it on?
It's on Prime.
Okay, bet.
It's on Amazon. So yeah, just check it out. But
I was gonna start this show called Industry. I heard it was like
Industry is so good. Yeah. It's so that is like the Gen Z millennial version of Succession, except they're all trying like it's like a very corporate take. Yes. We are diving into what it means to write your own story. All right. So you are a holistic artist. Like this is your goal. This is your dream. This is your life. Right? What has been the journey leading up to here?
Well, getting to where I am now at a point in my career, it's a little bit of an age thing and also just a bit of like a time thing. Well, yeah, so age and time. I feel like after a certain point of time, everything, kind of needs to be changed. So like just being simple about it, being concise. I can't go about doing things the same way I did when I was in high school or when I was in college, or I'm 24 now. I can't go about doing the same things I did when I was 19 and 21. You know, I've accomplished enough personally. You know, like I can say to myself that from where I started with this, you know, from where I started with poetry to
walk me through, like, what was the beginning? Did you always know you wanted to be an artist? Like,
yeah, no, I would say since the age of 4. At the least, I knew I wanted to be a rapper.
Okay.
Because, I say this like every time, but when 50 Cent dropped Get Rich or Die Trying, and I heard Many Man, I was just like, this is what I want to do with my life. You know, I want to be the guy talking from the radio. You know, I want that to be me. You know, I'm not necessarily like, you know, listen, man, like I want to get shot at, but I'm like, no, I want to make something that makes other people this happy.
Yeah.
Or make something that other people can, you know, just genuinely connect with. And I mean, I couldn't tell you to you like that when I was 4, but yeah, ever since. And I knew how to read when I was 4 years old.
Wow.
So, yeah, I just didn't know.
That's early.
Yeah, because that's a funny story too, because I have a cousin who's technically only a year older than me, but I have a late birthday, so you know how that is with school.
Yes.
So I would say around the time I was 3 was when she was starting kindergarten.
Okay, so they like kind of grouped you together.
No, my grandma grouped us together.
Okay,
so,
so
she'd like,
period.
She'd come home. And,
okay, grandma.
Yeah, she'd come home and she'd be like practicing her reading stuff, and I'd just be like, you know, sitting there watching TV, like, you gotta do homework. And my grandma was like, oh, you know, this is 2 birds in one stone. I'm gonna teach both y'all.
Period.
So yeah, I was learning how to read. So by the time I got into school, oh my goodness, I love like thinking about kindergarten, because when all the other kids were learning how to read, I got 2 recesses a day. I'm like,
see, you were living.
Y'all can't read.
But you know what's so interesting? It's like you've always had a close relationship with words. So like, how did that get you into like poetry?
So that's actually really funny. I always like to believe I chose to do poetry myself, but the older I get and the more I talk to this is gonna be the second time I'll bring up my grandma in like 30 seconds.
Yeah, go ahead. Go shout out to grandma. We love grandmas.
My grandma, she loves poetry. Like literally, I have my auntie Nikki is named after Nikki Giovanni.
Wow.
And so she wanted all her kids, like, well, not all of her kids, but she had hoped that at least one of her kids, you know, took up writing and none of them did. And it's not like you know, I feel like it's different with me because I didn't. Like, my grandma was there, and that was always, like, cool to me. I'm like, oh, you give me books? I love this. You know, this is like, what? But I'm like, I love this, you know? So yeah, I gradually say, like, it started really early, but it's actually getting into poetry, I would say I always wrote raps. Like, always wrote raps. Like, from the second, literally, I would say one of the first things I wrote once I learned how to write was like a rhyme. Like I was like, yeah, my name is man, and I do what I.
Don't be shy, man. Give us some bars, okay?
I wish I could remember. I was so proud of myself. Okay. Like I had it on my dresser and everything. I'm like,
wow. See, but that's passion. That's like purpose. Like you're already like, okay, this is what I want to do. This is what I want to do.
Yeah.
Now I want to freeze into a moment in time for you in high school. Okay, you happen to have your experience captured on a Starz documentary. America to Me. Y'all need to check it out. Okay, period. And in this documentary, it covered the inequities in the school system at Oak Park.
Yeah, Oak Park River Forest High School.
Period. Go ahead. Tell us more about that. What was it like that, like cameras following you and stuff?
So funny story. I actually did not want to do it. I did not enjoy the experience.
Wow.
I would say at least 60 to 70% of the time. Not to say I'm not like that always makes it seem like I'm not grateful.
No, like, but it's a real thing.
Yeah.
Like, why didn't you not like? Was it because did you know like what the subject matter was, or what was?
So they originally, it kind of grew, I guess. What they originally told us, and you know, I don't think this is on the fault of the producers at all. So like when I say this story, I'm gonna give the context of I really don't think they did this to like, you know, curveball us. But when they were pitching it to us, or at least pitching it to the school, they were just like, yeah, it's gonna be about the test scores at the school, basically how, just for lack of better words, white kids and kids of color perform like, you know, white kids up here, kids of color down here. And the question just being, if you guys have the same resources, what's the issue?
Yeah.
So, you know, and I guess during filming, it ended up being a docuseries. It was originally just meant to be like a 2-3 hour documentary. So over the course of filming, they're like, oh, there's a greater story here just about literally racism in a suburban Chicago school.
Yeah.
So it definitely changed while we were filming. So there were different things that they started asking us about and stuff like that. It was just like I made it my own. Like there were sometimes I had to like force myself to have fun with it because I was just like,
might as well maximize the moment.
Yeah, exactly that. Like I was just like, what I mean? Not a lot of other people say they did this, and what would I do? And I'm just like, what would I do if I was on TV?
Exactly. I mean, you were on TV.
Yeah,
that's like words to say. Like that's why it's so interesting to hear like the background too, because at least when you took the mic, when you again with just like the power of words, you were like, this is like my perspective. Yeah. And I was like, I admired that.
I actually so there's a funny thing about it. I think if you ever do or like have already watched the series, I think they might have caught me at like maybe I don't know how many poetry slams. I just know at one of the poetry slams, one of the group pieces that my poetry team had done at the time was literally about we were talking about like movies we want to see. Like what type of movies we'd want to see written. I think one of my friends did one. It was like a really funny like parody about how the mic stand came about. I think another girl. I really can't remember off the top of my head, but I just remembered mine. It was towards the end of the poem, and I was like, oh, I want to see a documentary. But except the documentary isn't focused on like racism and everything. It's just focused on cool things. And, like that's like the concise point of the poem. And like they put it in there, and I'm like, y'all assholes. I was talking about y'all.
It's like the joke was on you.
I'm like, ha ha ha. Like looking dead in the camera, like.
But again, what I love about just even hearing all of this is that you still just capitalize in the moment. You're still like, because at first you're like, I don't really know if I want to do this. I want to do that. But you got through it. You finished high school, and like, here's where you're at. How did you know that's like, what, I want to pursue music full time? Like, is that something you always knew was your dream, or like, how did you kind of make that decision?
Yeah, it's never something I ever questioned.
Wow.
Once I learned you can make money for talking, I was just like, well, why would I want to do anything else?
Look,
it was more so like, adults in your life, they always want you to be realistic about it.
Yes, that's why I want to ask, because I know there's a lot of artists listening right now. They're like, wait, like, he's like going all for it? Like,
yeah, no, so it's definitely, it is a leap of faith, but I mean, I feel like I've just been doing it for so long, and I had like you said, I had the privilege of knowing what I've wanted to do my whole life, so everything else to me is kind of like seeing like a backup plan, whereas like everyone always talks to me like, oh, well, music should be a backup plan, you should want to be something more conventional, like, there was a point in time when I was younger, I'll be like, oh, I want to be a doctor. And my mom would be like, oh, that's so,
same thing. I was like, I want to be a neurologist. But
like, oh my goodness. I got to like 6th grade, like science. I was like, fuck this. The most conventional thing I like would have seen myself doing, like actually loving, would probably be teaching. And I've actually taught like every age range, which is which is like,
y'all, I didn't know this. I didn't know this.
Yeah, I have no.
What do you teach about, or what's like your through line?
Literally poetry. Like,
wow.
It gets me into so many doors. So like, I get to run workshops. Like I've ran workshops with elementary school kids, middle school kids, high school kids. I ran workshops with high school kids when I was in high school. So, and I think I started tutoring when I was like 15.
Wow.
So yeah, just working with, but that's, again, talk about my grandma, my mom, and like my aunts and everything. Like, shout out to the women in my life. They're all like very charitable people. And I actually was just thinking about this the other day, and I was like, I need to ask my grandma. I'm like, did you instill that in them? Because that's one thing I would say my mom and all her siblings have. They're just like really charitable people. So, and
you feel like it flows through you too. It's like giving back and serving the community.
Yeah, like even my mom, she is an architect and in IT. Because when I call her a coder, she gets so mad. But yeah, she used to teach like girls coding. So
wow.
yeah, so it's like
okay. So she's increasing the representation in tech.
Yeah, yeah. She used to do this program called Girls Who Code. So
Wow. Wait, she did Girls Who Code. So I used to like volunteer with Girls Who Code.
That my mom was a volunteer for Girls Who Code. Yeah, and I think she did it in Broadview.
Wow. Yeah. Wow.
Yeah, so
I love that.
Yeah, no, if I continue teaching, I would teach poetry. Really, I don't believe I can teach any form of writing. I feel like I can teach creative writing because that just it's a wide umbrella of a lot of different things.
Yeah.
But yeah. Unconventionally though, I want to write. I'd love to write, perform, and literally produce for a living. The thing that I learned I had to do was you have to advocate for yourself. Like I feel like that's one of the bigger things of being an artist that you really don't learn until you try is advocating for yourself. Like
amen to that.
Yeah, no, personally, like I feel like just like put it like this, if I were running for president and they send me in the room, like they send me a ballot, and I'm like, all right, you're not looking at this. I'm voting for myself. Like, like I think it's that simple. Like that's how you have to go about things when you're an artist. Like, I'm not saying like be selfish, like a me.
But you have to like understand and know your worth, exactly. And I think that's kind of what I hear is like you've been so like this is my purpose, and like I feel like that's like what's enabled you to be like, no, I'm advocating for myself because I believe in myself.
Exactly, because there are a lot of rooms that when you do things and when you're creative and you create, there are a lot of things that there are a lot of rooms that you can get invited to just by being a nice person, which I would also say is one thing that they don't tell you about being an artist is like being a good person will take you so far. And I'm not saying like being a good person as in being nice or not being truthful with people about things, like just being a kiss up. Like no, being a good person, being true to yourself and true to things that you believe in, this and that and the third. It'll take you a really far place. Like if I go back in time, one of the things I tell myself is like, yo, it's about networking, it's about community building.
100%.
It's really just about being a good person. Like, if you're just not a shitty person, a lot of things become a lot easier. Yeah, I just feel like advocating for yourself, like, I feel like that's one of the big things about me, and this is just, like, how I am as a person. Like, I really just want to learn how to do everything for myself.
All right, so expand on wanting to do things yourself. Like, what do you want to make sure everything of?
So, for me, that really just means producing, like making my own beats and engineering and recording myself. So just basically once I have a song, once I have the beat, the lyrics, everything recorded, making it sound good for any speaker you possibly want to play it on. I feel like that's really important for any artist to, even if you don't want to take, like, when you go into music, there are a lot of different things you can do. You can write, you can perform, you can produce, you can make, like there's a lot of different job avenues. I feel like, from my point of view, I want to know how to at least do a little bit of everything. Yeah. Like, in a perfect world, I know how to do everything. Like, I could make the beat, write the song, record myself, engineer it, mix and master it, boom, But at the end of the day, even if I could do all that, I wouldn't want to. Because art is, and like I was trying to get into a little bit earlier, art is very collaborative. Yes. So while I do want to learn how to do everything for myself, that's more of like a safety precaution. Like that's just more so me knowing what I want and knowing how to tell people what I want. Or if no one can provide that for me, being able to do it for myself. Exactly.
I relate with that too, because like as a creative, it's like you want to be able to do the editing or the producing or the directing, but like not having to do it all allows you to focus on what you really like. Exactly. Like shout out to everyone behind the screen, period. Because like we did this before. Exactly. When it was like we just try to put things together, but it's so much better and different when there is support. But it's also empowering to like you said, know how to do everything, because then you can say, hey, like this is the kind of support I need. Exactly. Or like when in doubt, if something like isn't available, you're able to make it yourself. I think that all kind of ties into like writing your own story. Mm-hmm. Has there ever been a moment for you where you felt like, yo, I'm not writing my own story, or I'm like losing ownership of my life?
So yeah, that was actually Actually, during the documentary, like that's kind of
Wow.
it's kind of the beef I have with it was that I feel like in a way there were things about me that were kind of focused on a little bit more than they possibly should have been, or could like other things could have been shown more of a spotlight than some things. So I would say with the documentary, like I said earlier, I didn't really enjoy filming a lot of it. Like, you know, and that's just me being entirely honest. There were a lot of fun moments, and I've gotten so much, like, you know, so many things so many experiences I'll never be able to forget come from me being in that documentary. However, to be honest about the experience, there were times where I'm just like, you know, you can't really do anything. You know, it's different when you're 17 and you're just like, hey, you know, I have to be careful about what I'm saying or what I'm doing because people are going to be able to sit up and watch this for years. And
Forever.
Yeah.
It's on live TV.
As opposed to, like, you know, even watching it back when I'm like 24 now, and then like, damn, I shouldn't have really said what I was, like, you know, I should have just did this. I should have just, you know, not really cared, you know, or, you know, just different things. Or I should have just, I don't know, if I could go back, I would have been more vocal about how I was feeling during the entire experience. Just, you know, I felt as though they were trying to hone in on like the fact that my father wasn't around.
So they were trying to like basically stereotype you.
Yeah,
basically.
you know.
Yeah.
So
that's their, and I think that's the thing, because that was literally a situation where someone's literally trying to write your own story, like on TV, where they were trying to paint you a certain way because they have their own agendas. But it's like, okay, what do I do? Like, I'm the talent here. So, like, how did you kind of, like, take control of that? Or, like, how have you used that to move forward and be like, hey, well, I'm going to start writing my own story because I don't want to be in this position again?
It really puts you in a position of feeling like every time you speak, you have to speak for yourself. Like, if like, say this person never hears anything from me again, then I want what they heard today to be like a great indication of who I am as a person or who I am as an artist. So that was a lot of the pressure I was talking about at the beginning, kind of being lifted off of myself. Like, it's all in my head, you know, like, regardless, I feel like it follows me around, or that's who I was when I was 17. At the end of the day, I mean, it's just something in my head, you know, like, when it comes to writing my own story, I feel like this with anybody, you know, it's hard being honest with yourself about a lot of parts because it takes being vulnerable, it takes accountability, and it takes just also having to go back through hard times.
What advice do you have for, like, everyone that's listening and watching so then they can own their own story?
I would say, like I said earlier, always be genuine. Like, I think I said be a good person earlier, but yeah, one thing I can say from being 24 and being able to literally, you know, whenever I want to go on TV and look at myself when I was 17, I would say you never really get moments back. And the one regret I would have about any moment in my life looking back was if I wasn't being my complete self, then I would want to change that.
I feel that.
Yeah, because I feel like, again, you know, with art, with life, there's so many things that you will only get by being true to who you are.
Period.
I feel like
be true to who you are.
Yeah, I mean, but I feel like that's so, I don't know, I feel like that's so, like, cliche to say.
I knew you were going to say cliche and corny, but it's true. Like, it's true. Like, I think it's better when we are able to be ourselves because, I mean, it is our story.
Exactly.
Who we going to be? Like, some other character? No. I mean, you can if it's your character, you know what I'm saying?
Exactly.
But,
and it's a unique thing that connects us all.
Well, to wrap up, how do you make every day a yay?
Weed. Hold on, wait. I want to say that and look directly into a camera. Weed. Give me one more. Yes.
Oh, okay.
Weed.
Okay.
Along with, like, kids cartoons. I love kids cartoons.
I love kids cartoons. Scooby-Doo.
Oh my goodness, The Amazing World of Gumball, regular show,
Gumball.
The original Teen Titans series.
Look. So to summarize, essentially, you just try to find the joy in every day, and that's how you find your joy.
That's a great way to say it. I
Look,
try to
I
find
be
joy
going.
in every day, you know?
You heard it, folks.
One thing
You
that
heard
makes
it.
me happy, it's usually weed.
Okay, that's fair. I respect it.
Thank you, I appreciate that.
Well, I'm so happy we had you on. Charles, Dahzi D, Charlie Chaplin, the Silent Killer. Tell us how we support you.
You can stream my music like literally on every platform if you just search Dahzi. I put out an album last year called In Living Color, which is, if you've ever seen the show In Living Color, it's loosely based off of that show. Like it's a sketch show, so I want to make my album as close to a sketch show that a rap album could get.
Oh,
Which is just my fun way of saying there's no consistent theme or sound.
So this is In Living Color.
Yeah, it's In Living Color. And then I'm actually putting out another song on Thursday, July 6th, called 2000 Jumpers.
Okay.
Which is based.
Y'all check it out. Y'all check it out. Check it out.
Yeah. And other than that, I would say read a book. That's how you can support me.
Read a book.
Read a
Please.
book.
Please read a book.
Read a book. Drink some water.
Look. Hydrate.
Eat your vegetables.
Eat some vegetables.
Parents.
You know, I like to put some spinach in my smoothie. You mix that up.
I did that the other day.
Okay,
like,
period.
mango smoothie. I didn't even taste the spinach, but I knew it was there.
There.
Like,
See, period.
I'm probably the first nigga to ever do this.
Thank you so much for being on the show.
Having
Of course,
Oh my goodness.
period. And you know what? It's because every day can be a yay! Woo! Yes, you know,